Zenitsu Agatsuma is the most annoying character in Demon Slayer. Not debatable. He screams, he moans, he cries, until he closes his eyes and becomes the scariest person in the room. Like and subscribe and let's get started. Zenitsu is one of the most irritating characters. Not in a fun way. Not in a way where you're supposed to find it charming. In a way where you genuinely question, why is he here? Zenitsu didn't become a Demon Slayer because he wanted to protect people. He didn't swear revenge on a demon who took someone he loved. He became a demon slayer because of a debt, conned into it, essentially, by a woman who left him with nothing. He stumbled into the most dangerous profession in the world without a single reason to be there. And it shows. He hides behind children, actual children, people who cannot fight, who have no power, who are calling for help, and Zenitsu gets behind them because at least they're between him and whatever's coming. He wails through every mission. He faints under pressure. He spends more time on the ground than on his feet. And here's the thing. The frustration is valid. It's not an overreaction. It's not the audience being too harsh. When you're watching a show about people who risk their lives to protect humanity, a character who can't stop screaming about how much he doesn't want to be there is genuinely hard to sit with. But the first time you see him unconscious, it's terrifying. It almost doesn't register. You're in the Drumhouse arc. Zenitsu is paralyzed with fear, backed into a corner by a demon that should end him. And then he faints, and something else wakes up. No screaming, no crying. Eyes closed, body completely still, and then movement so fast and clean it looks like a different show. Thunder breathing, burst form, thunderclap, and flash. A technique so refined, so perfectly executed, that the demon doesn't even have time to understand what happened. Then Zenitsu hits the floor again, and when he wakes up, he has no idea what he did. This is the thing that the show is quietly telling you the entire time. Zenitsu only knows one form. One. Out of 6 thunder-breathing forms, he was only ever able to master the first one. His master spent years trying to teach him the rest, and it never took. One form. He took that one form, and he refined it so deeply, so completely, so far beyond what anyone thought was possible, from a single technique, that he is among the most dangerous practitioners of thunder-breathing alive. While he's asleep, the coward and the warrior were always the same person. The fear wasn't covering up an absence. It was sitting on top of something enormous, something that only came out when the conscious mind, the part that knows how scared it is, the part that calculates the danger and finds it unacceptable, finally got out of the way. And then there's Jigoro Kawajima, the former Thunder Hashira. He is also the only person in Zenitsu's life who looked at him, really looked at him, past the crying and the fainting and the running, and saw something worth believing in. Zenitsu didn't have parents who sacrificed themselves. He didn't have a family who loved him before tragedy took them. He had Jigoro. That's it. An old man who decided, for reasons Zenitsu probably didn't fully understand, that this terrified, useless, barely functional boy had something inside him worth pulling out. Is there someone in your life who believed in you before you believed in yourself? Someone who refused to write you off when everyone else already had, including you? Most people only become something because of one person who decided they were worth the trouble. Jigoro trained him, refused to give up on him even when giving up would have been the reasonable thing to do. And when it came time to name a successor, when Jigoro had to decide who would carry the thunder-breathing tradition forward, he chose both of his students, not just Kaigaku, both of them. Kaigaku, who was talented and confident, and everything Zenitsu wasn't on the surface, and Zenitsu, who couldn't stop crying long enough to get through a training session. Jigoro saw them as equals, as joint heirs to something he'd spent his life building. Kaigaku never forgave Zenitsu for that. From the beginning, Kaigaku looked at Zenitsu the way most of the audience did, as someone who didn't belong, weak, embarrassing, a waste of the master's time. Kaigaku was everything Zenitsu wasn't. Capable, fast, disciplined, someone who actually looked the part. And Kaigaku hated that Jigoro treated them as equals. Hated that this crying, useless boy was considered his peer. The resentment was constant, and it was open, and Zenitsu, somehow, never stopped respecting him anyway. Then the upper moons attacked, and Kaigaku, faced with a demon he couldn't defeat, made a choice. He surrendered. He offered himself, his loyalty, his knowledge, his humanity, in exchange for survival. He became a demon, became Upper Moon 6, chose power over everything Jigoro had tried to teach him. When Jigoro found out what his student had done, he couldn't bear it. He committed seppuku. Think about losing the one person who truly believed in you. Not just losing them in a way that felt like it could have been prevented. That kind of loss doesn't just hurt. It demands something from you. It asks you what you're going to do with everything they gave you. The former Thunder Hashira, a man who had survived battles that killed Hashira far younger than him, ended his own life because of the shame of what his student had become. The man who believed in Zenitsu, the only person who ever truly believed in Zenitsu, died in disgrace because of someone else's cowardice. Zenitsu finds out, and then he goes quiet. Not sad quiet, not crying quiet. Something nobody around him had ever seen before. Tanjiro notices it first. Tanjiro, who has known Zenitsu long enough to catalog every expression, every sound, every flavor of his panic, and Tanjiro looks at his friend and doesn't recognize what he's seeing. Zenitsu isn't scared anymore. He has one thing left to do. Find Kaigaku. This is the moment the dumb character disappears, and he created a new form. Thunderclap and Flash, 7th form, a technique he developed himself from scratch, built on the foundation of the one form he'd spent years perfecting. Creating a new breathing form is something only the truly exceptional do. It's not a power-up, it's proof, hard, undeniable proof, that Zenitsu had been operating on a level nobody gave him credit for. He built it while nobody was watching. Every training session, every refinement of that single form, every quiet hour that never made it into a hype moment, it was all going somewhere. It was going to Kaigaku, the Infinity Castle. Zenitsu faces off against his brother Kaigaku. They face each other in the castle, and Zenitsu is unrecognizable. The boy who used to hide behind children, who fainted at the first sign of danger, who wailed through every mission he was ever sent on. He's not there. What's standing across from Kaigaku is the thing that was always underneath the noise. Cold, still, decided, completely locked in. Kaigaku tries to get in his head. That's what Kaigaku does. He belittles, he mocks. He reminds Zenitsu of everything he was never supposed to be able to do. The same voice that spent years telling him he didn't belong, that he was an embarrassment to their master, that Jigoro wasted his time believing in him. Zenitsu doesn't take the bait, because Zenitsu isn't fighting Kaigaku for himself. He's fighting for Jigoro, for the man who saw something in a terrified, useless boy and refused to stop believing in it. For the master who died in shame because of the student standing across from him right now. Kaigaku has every thunder-breathing form except the first. Zenitsu has only the first and the 7th, the one he built himself, the one that doesn't exist in any tradition or technique scroll, the one that came from nowhere except years of quiet, unseen, uncelebrated work. He uses it. Thunderclap and Flash 7th form. It's over before Kaigaku fully understands what's happening. Upper Moon 6, defeated. By the dumb character, awake, conscious. Not a subconscious reflex, not a lucky accident. A choice. The most deliberate, prepared, purposeful choice Zenitsu Agatsuma has ever made in his life. When the man who believed in him needed to be avenged, the dumb character locked in. Drop a comment. Was Zenitsu your favorite of the trio? If you want to keep going, there's another video right on your screen. Just click it to keep watching.